Hello everybody, my name is Dratnos and welcome to part 5 of my Assassination Rogue PvE guide. This part will focus on your single target rotation. It's going to take into account different talents and Azerite pieces that you may run, but it is not going to focus on the opener. There's going to be a separate video for that. The most important part of the Assassination Rogue single target rotation is keeping your bleeds up at all times on the target. And what you can do is you can actually refresh your bleeds on the target when they have less than 30% of their duration left, and you will get that duration added to the end of the bleed. So for Garrote, that means you can refresh it when there's 5.4 seconds or less left on the bleed. And for Rupture, it actually depends on whether you're spending 5 or 4 combo points, because that 30% figure cares about the new duration, not the old one. So a 5 combo point Rupture, if you're about to do one of those, you can refresh your old Rupture when it has 7.2 seconds left. And if you're about to do a 4 combo point Rupture, instead you have to wait until it has 6 seconds or fewer left. The rest of your rotation is going to be filled by building and spending combo points. You build combo points with Mutilate, and you want to do that when you have 3 or fewer combo points. And then when you have 4 or 5 combo points, you're going to want to use a finisher. That'll be Rupture as the highest priority if you need it, or if you can refresh it, if it's within that window we were talking about earlier, where it can be safely refreshed. And then Envenom is the other piece of filler that you'll just use there if you don't need to refresh Rupture. If you're spec'd internal bleeding, you can also use your Kidney Shot. It's a little bit more damage than the Envenom will be, but the target actually has to be stunnable to get that damage. One advanced technique is that if you are at exactly 4 combo points, you can wait a little while in your rotation until your Garrote is refreshable. As long as you don't overcap energy while you're waiting, it's a good way to gain a little bit of extra damage. You just sit at 4 combo points, and then you click your Garrote, which is guaranteed to be 1 combo point, and you're being very efficient, right? Then you're going to spend 5 combo points instead of 4 at once. Another thing you may have heard of is pooling your energy, and the best way to think about this is that when you're at a spot in your rotation, when you're about to cast Envenom, and you're low on energy, and you're not in a Toxic Blade, you're not in a Vendetta, you're not doing anything cool, just wait. Wait until you've built up some energy, and then click your Envenom. And that's basically all there is to pooling energy, and that's going to mean that you get more of your damage and more of your energy spent while you're in your elaborate planning windows, and while you're in your Toxic Blade and your Vendetta. You want to have all your energy available for those times when your damage is increased, and then when you've not got anything going on, just wait a while and build up your energy then. Those are the best times to be missing globals, right? Not during your Toxic Blade, not during your Vendetta. Speaking of Toxic Blade is an interesting talent that has a lot of interesting things to talk about if you've selected it. The way to play Toxic Blade is that when the button lights up, click on it. Exsanguinate is a little bit more complicated than Toxic Blade. In general, if your Exsanguinate is available, but your Vanish and your Vendetta are coming up soon, you're going to want to wait and not use your Exsanguinate, because you really want it to be in your Vanish and your Vendetta window, and you also really don't want to delay your Vanish and your Vendetta, because you want to make sure that you get as many possible casts of Vendetta in a fight. So you never want to be in this position where you're waiting for Exsanguinate to come back up so you can press your Vendetta, because then you might lose a Vendetta later in the fight, and that would be tragic. However, there's a little bit of nuance to this, which is if you know you're not going to get an extra Vendetta anyways, you can fire off your Exsanguinate when it comes off cooldown, and then you can wait on your next Vendetta, on your last Vendetta of the fight, because you'll get 1 extra cast of Exsanguinate if you do that, and you won't lose any casts of Vendetta. That's a little bit of an advanced thing to be, you have to be sure when you're going to do that, because it's really, really tragic if you miss a Vendetta, and it's not very tragic if you miss 1 Exsanguinate in the course of a fight, by contrast. So how do you actually play Exsanguinate? Well, you want to Exsanguinate bleeds that are as big as possible, right? Bleeds that have as much length on them as possible. So what that means is that it's often worth refreshing your Rupture and your Garrote early, so you lose out a little bit of value, right? Because you're refreshing them when they have more than that 30% left. But you gain all this extra value by getting a full-length bleed into that Exsanguinate, and that's good to do. Another advanced tip here is if you know you're going to be holding your next Exsanguinate anyways, if you know you're going to be waiting for Vanish and Vendetta, then you're not actually under that much pressure to click your Exsanguinate as it comes off cooldown, right? Because you're going to be waiting anyways. So it doesn't matter if you wait the 15 seconds now or if you wait for them before your Vanish and your Vendetta. So in that case, you should wait for the best moment within those 15 seconds when your Rupture and your Garrote are naturally refreshed, so that you're not being inefficient and refreshing them early. The final thing you need to know if you're playing Exsanguinate is don't refresh your Exsanguinated bleeds early. You're going to lose damage if you do that. So either get a way to track that, or just remember when you've got a bleed on your target, if it's Exsanguinated, wait until it falls off and then refresh it right then. Let's talk now about our big single target damage cooldown, Vendetta. Vendetta you're always going to want to pair with Vanish, but how exactly you play that is going to be based on which talent you've selected, whether you're playing Subterfuge or Master Assassin. If you're playing Subterfuge, the way it looks ideally is you're going to Vanish right before your Vendetta. You're going to refresh a 5.4 second Garrote up to 24 seconds and also turn it into a Subterfuge-empowered Garrote. And then you're going to Vendetta, and you're going to get that full 24 seconds worth of empowered Garrote. 20 of those seconds will be affected by your Vendetta, and you're going to be a happy camper. If you're playing Exsanguinate, you just need to make sure that you Exsanguinate the empowered 24-second Garrote sometime in your Vendetta, and you get those 12 seconds all inside your Vendetta. If you're talented into Master Assassin, you're just going to want to Vanish sometime during your Vendetta window when you have 4 or 5 combo points, ideally 5. You're going to hit your Envenom, it's probably going to crit, or you're going to be very unlucky. You're going to hit Mutilate, and hopefully that gives you 4 combo points. If it doesn't, you're unlucky. If you do get the 4 combo points, then you'll get another Envenom inside that Master Assassin window, and that's going to be really good. Otherwise, tough luck, you're going to Mutilate, and kind of sucks. Let's talk about how Shrouded Suffocation changes your single target rotation. The first thing to know is that if you have any pieces of Shrouded Suffocation on your gear, you need to play Subterfuge. You just have to play that talent. That's the rule. Normally when you're playing Subterfuge, during your Vanish, you just apply the 1 Garrote, right? But with Shrouded Suffocation, because you're getting all this extra value from the extra combo points, you instead are going to want to do 2 Garrotes inside every Vanish. And the way that's going to look is usually it's going to be Garrote, Finisher, Garrote, and that will give you the maximum total value. With that, it's important to note that it doesn't matter how much time is left on the Garrote you're refreshing. It's better if it, in fact, is as close to 0 as possible, rather than being at 5.4. The final thing to keep in mind if you're playing Shrouded Suffocation is to never, under any circumstances, refresh an empowered Garrote with an unempowered version. That's going to lose you a ton of damage, so do not do that. Thanks for watching part 5 of my Assassination Rogue PvE guide. If you found this useful, you might enjoy some of the other content on my channel, the other parts of this guide, which will soon be updated to include AoE and openers and all that kind of stuff. You might also enjoy the affix guides, the dungeon guides that are on my channel. If you found this useful, please consider subscribing, liking the video, all that stuff. I'd appreciate it greatly. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.